Hello friends, my name is C. Hemant Gupta. Today I am going to talk about a very important issue about networking of chartered accountant firms, especially in the light of guidelines issued by Institute of Chartered Accountant of India in February 2021. In today's video, I am going to talk about how to get into networking among CA firm, what are the causes of their failure, what are the benefits of their having networking, and how we can grow our practice by way of networking, which is actually a precursor to a merger of chartered accountant firms. So before I talk about it and start moving ahead in this direction, what networking is. So it's basically a social engineering or social network among your peers, or a social connections through which you exchange information, you share your resources, you use somebody else's resources, so that both of you or various member of your network can grow together on each other's strength. So basically, when we talk about Indian chartered accountant firms, they have two ways to grow their practice. One is organic way. They start from individual, maybe make a partnership firm, proprietorship firm, form a LLP, and then slowly and steadily grow from there. And another one is organic way of growing, wherein you already have your existing practice. You either merge that practice with somebody else and overnight grow double or quadruple your practice, or you go and find some suitable firms with like-minded people, you make them part of your network or become part of their network, so that without sacrificing your identity, you become associated with somebody else or somebody else become associated with you, and you can offer a wide range of services as a chartered accountant. Okay, so what will be the benefit of networking? So first and foremost benefit of networking, unlike merger, wherein you might have to lose your identity, either to merge somebody with you or get merged with somebody else. In networking, you can protect your identity of a small firm or maybe small partnership firm. You do not want to change your name or the way you work. You can protect that and still part of something which is large. You could have a multi-location presence, you could have a different variety of expert working for you or you working for them. You can have a prompt or exponential growth or immediate scalability. The issue of manpower can be taken care of. You could have a common IT infrastructure, common branding, common marketing, common quality control procedure. So a lot of way networking, the people in your network are going to help you. So if we are talking about a lot of benefit out of networking, then why is it failing? Why people are not taking up to networking? So to my understanding, I think it's basically involves a lot of interpersonal skills. That's why we fail, because people are usually willing to assume leadership positions without assuming the corresponding responsibility which come with leadership position. Everybody want to be leader, but nobody want to take the responsibility for any failure. Then again, for network model of practice, there is no legal sanctity, there is no legal recognition, how the network would be registered, how the network would be called into an identity, and there are a lot of taxation issue involved. And finally, the most important of them all is usually it's very difficult or next to impossible to get any work allotted in the name of network itself. So if we look at the typical Indian CA firm, not all of them, but most of them, majority chunk of them, the first and foremost problem with them is, suppose they've been working for some client for, let's say, so many years, 10-20 years, and one day that client grows. That client will immediately leave that small firm to go and work with some bigger firm, because that client will think the smaller firm cannot take care of his needs. And then we are predominantly limiting ourselves to practice of audit and taxation. We are highly dependent on empanelment work. If no government work is there, probably most of, if not most, but a lot of CA firm might go out of work or out of practice, because they are heavily dependent upon empanelment work or audit work. Then technology is there, which is regularly and on daily basis replacing human involvement in any sort of physical work. So you never know, tomorrow there might be blockchain technology or artificial intelligence might be coming, which, if not all, a major chunk of accountant or auditors might go out of job because they would not be knowing those technologies. Then there are manpower issues, as we discussed. Then probably of late there has been reduction in tax audit limits, whereby a lot of work has gone out of the hands of practicing chartered accountants. So these are the issues faced by the small firms. So if we talk about the networking of Indian chartered accountant firm historically, because this networking guidelines is not something which has come just now. It was a very old concept, if not very old, but a reasonably old concept. So actually there are less than 100 network involved or registered with ICAI. The reason being the cumbersome procedure to register a network, a lot of formality, members are not very responsible to get into networking because lack of commercial opportunity available. Network of Indian CA firms are not recognized by appointing authorities, no empanelment, no audit, no other non-attest function is even also available to chartered accountant firms. And network were not even able to take assignment if at all available in their own name. So, and again there was a fear of losing one's identity because the clarity was not there how the network would pan out. So what possible solution was offered by ICAI? Either you can merge your partnership firm with somebody else, make a bigger single unit firm and go for empanelment, all sort of professional opportunities, form an LLP. You could also have a multidisciplinary firm where in a lot of chartered accountant, company secretaries, CWAs, maybe lawyers, architects, professional of different streams could come under one roof, under one single brand name and offer services. However, this mechanism is still under development. I don't know when this will see the light of the day. And another one is networking, which has its own flexibilities, but problem is the recognition, for which ICAI has come up with new guidelines and for which they have also committed that they are going to take care of it by following up with government authorities so that network could be recognized. Okay, so what sort of networking approaches they have identified and they have provided with the networking? They have come up with three models. One is already existing model and they have proposed two more models. One model is alliance model, second one is networking, third one is networking with lead firm. So in all the models, the participating firms will be working independently as an individual unit. They will be working from their own office. They will be having their own identity intact. They could perform the same kind of work which they were doing before coming into network. But to added advantage, they could be part of some alliance and project themselves that they are part of some alliance or some network, so that on collective basis, on the strength of each other's manpower or technical know-how or other infrastructure, they could some non-attest work, I repeat non-attest work, which is not an audit work, so they could take that kind of work and execute among themselves depending upon their qualification and depending upon their specialization. So in this network form of practice, the new model which have been introduced by the institute is networking with lead firm model. What happens in lead firm model is there is one firm which takes charge, which applies all the empanelment, all the work in their own name, but on the strength of the network. So they'll be responsible for executing the task and distribution of tasks among the network. So there will be one leader, which is highly required in this sort of arrangement, because usually if there are a lot of people in any group and there is no leader, the group is bound to go haywire. So, but before you think that networking is the ultimate solution and there is no negative side to it, you should look before you jump into this. You should at least have a detailed knowledge about the other chartered accountant firms and other firms with whom you want to get into business. You need to evaluate whether you want to go for alliance or another network model. You need to have a properly documented network deed, so that there should not be any conflict among network members, and if at all there is any conflict, that has to be resolved in an amicable manner. Okay, so then there are formalities to be completed with ICAI for the purpose of registration, for any changes in constitution, for which ICAI has come up with detailed guidelines, and they have also given the forms, which are simple 1 or 2 page form, needs to be filed with the institute, and with that you can register your network. After registering the name of your network, you can actually register it, and then if there are any changes, by providing all the details of changes in your network, you can register those changes as well in the network. The network, again, network or alliance can have their website of their own. They can prepare a common balance sheet. They can, like as I said, they can have all sort of non-attest function done in the name of the network. Whereas in case of alliance, the alliance cannot take the name, cannot take the work in its own name. But overall, as a various constituent of alliance can take the work as an individual unit, but on the strength of the alliance. So these are the things which you have to take care of it before you decide to go ahead to join a network or any alliance. So what is the basically concept of an alliance or concept of a network would be, there is a cooperation among various constituent of alliance or network for the better coordination among professionals of far-reaching professional reach, maybe a multi-location presence. The basic aim of the network or alliance would be to share the profit or share the cost. So, but just to keep in mind, without any common ownership and control or management, this will not be there in case of alliance, but in case of a network there can be a common ownership, control and common management. So this is the concept of this is a slight difference between alliance and a network. So alliance, you can say, is slightly on a lower pedestal in comparison to network. Okay, so as I said, wider professional reach, you could have a referral practice, a different geographical presence. If our ICI regulation permitting and other countries regulation permitting, you could also have a associate or network constituent in another country as well. So I discuss about the bylaws. What kind of information, because there is no specific format of any bylaws which a network or alliance should have. So broad area of bylaws could be how the administration of that alliance or network would go, who would be the nominated person who will take care of those administration, who will be the signing authority, who will be the person who will be actually taking the responsibility for getting the work done, conducting the coordination between various constituent of the network. If at all there is some dispute among any network constituent, how that dispute is going to be resolved, who is going to take care of that, how the cost of managing the network is to be borne, how you, in what proportion each and every constituent of the network will be contributing towards that cost. Okay, then you could also form a managing committee of network so that there is better coordination. Membership fees are already discussed. Then you could also appoint somebody from outside who is not part of any constituent firm to manage or run the network in a professional manner. You could also develop some software or some in-house technology so that those softwares, those technological development could be used by all the network firm across the board. So then there is another network model which I talked about initially, which is network firm model with a lead firm. The whole concept remains same. The only difference which comes there is the network is led by a lead firm who may be a subject matter expert, who may be expert in some particular field, or who may be having a better infrastructure. So it all depends upon how the network recognize their lead firm. And in fact, for different purposes, for different works, a network could have a different lead firm. So it's not that only one lead firm will be taking care of the network and they'll be having sole rights and responsibility. So network could always promote different lead firms for different purposes. So what will be the form of the network from legal perspective? So institute has come up, our institute has come up with different, rather I should say it's not different, it's with the clear-cut guidelines that network can be registered as a AOP, association of person, and all the income tax provision as per association of person will be applicable to that network. This may consist of proprietorship firm, partnership firm, limited liability firm, but no individually practicing member can be part of that network. So that is very clear from the guideline issued by institute. Firms belonging to networks are not allowed to become associate of another network. So you could only be part of one network or one alliance. You cannot be part of multiple alliances. And suppose some firm is there who have majority, some two different firms are there whose majority of partners are common. Even those two firms cannot join two different networks. So there has to be only one network and one alliance. So coming to some ethical compliances which might be required when you enter into a network mode of practice, because there might be a lot of conflicts might also be arising out of this network mode of practice. So like globally also the networks are never allotted any attest function. They are only given non-attest function on the basis of their sheer strength. So what an individual firm cannot do in their individual capacity, the same thing cannot be done by the network also. Suppose in network, one of the constituent firm is doing central statutory audit of a public sector bank. So the other constituent firm of that network will not be allowed to do any branch audit, any revenue audit, any concurrent audit, any other work which is prohibited for central statutory auditor. But having said this, if the any firm of the network is not doing CSA work, so in that case other firms are free to take as many as branch audits as are allowed by regulatory authorities, any concurrent audit, irrespective of which branch which constituent is doing what. If firm A is doing branch audit, the firm B can do the concurrent audit. There is no prohibition on that. But for central statutory audit, there is a prohibition. Again, in case of a rotation of auditors, so if one firm is not eligible to be appointed due to rotation of auditor, the another network firm is not allowed to be appointed as auditor of some entity due to rotation of firm policy as per Companies Act. Network constituents can advertise on their stationery or as per ICAI guidelines that they are part of so and so network or that they are independent member of so and so alliance. They can very well publish it or advertise. However, the code of ethics of our Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, applicable for chartered accountants, will have to be changed to that effect, which the guidelines issued by the institute clearly says so. So as I also discussed, the only non-attest function will be given. However, upon registration for identification purposes, each network or each alliance will be given an ARN or NRN, which is network registration number or alliance registration number. So all the firms will be allowed to use simultaneously the strength of the network, and they could claim, they will be in a position or they will be allowed to claim the consolidated strength of the network as their own if they want to bid for some work or if they want to project the strength of their network. Okay, then provision of section 144 of Companies Act 2013, which prohibits any auditor of the firm not to perform other function for a client where he or that firm is appointed as a statutory auditor, will also be applicable in case of a network firms. So that also needs to be taken care of. However, the registration of network with ICAI will deem to be a registration of network as a public notice. So each and every client of the network or constituent firm will not have to be given independent notice of any such network being operational. However, in case any network is reconstituted, suppose one firm leaves the network, another joins, and there is some already work which has been given to the network on the combined strength of the network, again that reconstitution will not result into debarment of network. And one last point which I want to emphasize or project is the network in case of a lead firm model. Suppose lead firm model has taken the name because taken the work in its own name, and they will be the one who would be executing the work, and they decide to leave the network taking the work along with them. It has been very clearly specified in the guidelines that the lead firm will have to share the fees with the constituent of the network as per their previously existing agreement or bylaws. So that is very clear. So before I wrap up or close the discussion on this, I would like to request each and every person or rather a chartered accountant who are hearing this video, kindly ensure that you do try and find to increase the size of your firm, if not by way of partnership or merger, at least by way of networks, because it is definitely a precursor to forming a larger organization by way of entering into an arrangement between various firms and maybe of different verticals within same city, or same vertical in different cities, or whatever combination you may choose. But unless and until you are going to venture out, find people with like-minded thinking and same temperament, you are not going to grow your practice. That is for sure. Unless and until you think that there is a ample amount of work already available with you, you cannot, you do not need the support of any other professional. That is fine. But if you think that there is some glass ceiling which you have already reached and you are not able to grow beyond that, then you must join hand with your fellow professional, form a network. If your network works out, then the next step for you to take is to merge that network into a single practicing unit, either make a partnership firm or LLP. So in case like you do wish to ask me any more question about networking or maybe merger of the firms, I would be more than happy. You could just mention something about those questions in comments, and I will definitely get back to you. So thank you for listening to my video. This is Hemant Gupta signing off. Thank you so much.